Alright everybody, this is Patches. Cool.
Nope.
Cool. I think we're set. Let's do some Tai Chi. Let's start in the center. So allow your feet to touch in the middle, and then rest your tailbone as if you're sitting, like you're gonna sit over your heels, and then extend your neck without adjusting anything below it, just pushing up through the top. Take a deep breath and bring your hands together in the center. And then internally, connect the tongue to the upper palate, lift the base of the torso, and activate the feet inside of the shoes. Take a deep breath and relax. Let's do, I like to start with some Qigong before you start any activity, like before you travel in your car. You charge the car, you fill the car with gasoline. Let's do Jin Ji Du Li as our warm-up. So breathing, I'm just changing from one side to the other. So you want to do a full inhale. And as the power goes out, exhaling. Go at your own pace. If you're doing this as a Qigong, it may go much slower. So the whole time, stretching. When we started, I gave a very simple grip your feet, stretch your neck, sink your tailbone. So use just those few ideas, few principles. If I turn sideways, you don't have to match the breathing. To match the breathing, you have to move slower. Balance it out, very easy. Do the same amount on one side as the other, and after you finish, return back to Tai Chi Harmony, and let's do a full calibration. Start from the top as if the power is pulling from the outside or pushing from the inside up. Relax your brow, open your vision. Expand your nostrils and your sinuses so that your upper face is relaxed. Activate the corners of the mouth. You can think of a half smile to relax the lower half of your face, relax your jaw. Connect the tongue to the upper palate and make the consistency of the tongue very soft. The chin is tucked. Line up your ears to your shoulders. So if it's here, bring it upright. Shoulders are in the correct place. The chest is not pushing forward. Instead, it's relaxed. When we have the hands together, there's a gap in all of the joints, so we don't have any kinks in the hose, so that the elbow has a space, the armpit has a space, and the wrist should feel open as well. The center is supporting while the back is open and relaxed. The tailbone is tucked under, the insides of the hips are folded, knees have a bend in them. Strengthen your ankles. Pull your heel in, pull the outside of the foot towards the center. Activate your toes, open the base of the foot right here. Take a deep breath. Relax. Let's do some X-stepping. And we're going to do the same exercise we just did using Jinji Duli to review, so that we have some idea what's happening with the arms. The arms aren't going out here. This is too open. Tai Chi is martial art. It's self-defense. So when we do this movement, you'll see my elbows acting as the pivot. So this is the same when we're doing grasp a sparrow's tail at the beginning. My whole arm isn't moving. It can, but I'm using the elbow as the pivot. That way, if my pivot point goes over here, my front isn't covered. But if I keep this circular shape, my hand can reach all the way over to here and can return very quickly. So this circle. So the same way when we do this movement, the forearms are turning. We don't have to reach way out here. So let's do X-stepping with Jinji Duli. From the center, step back to the corner. Grip your foot. Practice balancing. You can time it to the breathing. But now you have some idea for the movement in the elbows. And what that means is the movement has to be very stable. You have to isolate the elbows as a joint to make that movement happen. So from the center, if we're stepping in the shape of an X, step rear left. Center. Step front right. Return to the center. Step front left. Return to the center. Step rear right. So by isolating this joint, the elbow, when we turn, we can keep this type of structure from one elbow across the shoulders to the other, as if we're maintaining this posture of holding the ball like this. So now let's do the same exercise again, Jinji Duli. And we talked about isolating the elbows. Now stabilize them. We can just practice if you're just facing one direction. Practice just turning the elbows. And remember, in Tai Chi, we say there are principles happening all the time. With this particular idea, the elbows locked in place and the forearms are turning. And this has a name, Chansi. And the type of power generated, Chansi Jing. So this idea is that the forearms are always turning. You can think of like a wheel or a paint roller, right? My forearm. When we're doing crane, when we're doing Jinji Duli, these forearms always turning, right? Change the other way, go from the outside in. And so we're isolating the elbows, but we're also stabilizing them. So expand your back, relax your chest, turning in the same direction. Change. So by the way, while we're doing this very simple exercise, you'll notice my hands staying in sync. This is another Tai Chi principle. This one could fall under several. We could think of it as 6 harmonies. We could think of it as the very change directions if you haven't. Let's do something else. Start with one in the center. Outsides, top and bottom, center, bottom and top, outsides, top and bottom, center, change, up and down, facing out, facing in, vertical, horizontal, vertical. This is the feeling when we're practicing Tai Chi, that from one elbow to the other elbow, through the shoulders and across the spine is one unit, and that the arms pivoting at the elbows, right? We can use the whole arm, and we do, Sher Fei. But in general, we want to keep that movement smaller. Let's do a little bit of stretching before we do Tai Chi. So bring your feet together in the center. Relax your shoulders, sink your tailbone. Starting from Tai Chi Harmony, breathe deep. Straighten your center line and turning. Grip your feet, and if you feel something in your knees, it means to take a break. So we're turning. Think of this as a full body stretch. As if you're taking your full body like a towel or a cloth and wringing it, turning it around the center. You can time it with the breathing so that when you reach the apex of your stretch, your lungs are full. Back to the center. Lock your shoulders and then get in touch with your neck. You can turn big circles or small circles depending on how flexible you feel. Practice stretching. Imagine that you're a giraffe and you can stretch your neck way up there, pushing up through the center. Change directions if you haven't, and just find the edge, find the extreme where it feels like you have the stretch. Breathing. Roll your shoulders. Make the movement originate from the center so that you're using as much of your torso. Change direction. We'll do a few going forward and then alternate. If you've been sitting behind a desk all week, use this as the yin-yang opposite of that static position. From the center, let's turn. So my hips aren't turning, and my jawline is facing forward. This motion is happening between the waist and the neck. Breathe deep. Make sure you have a very serious expression when you do this one. That way if someone walks into the room. Let's do another one. If I take a square step, shoulder width deep. Keep the head top up there. This one, the arms, if we look from the top, it's as if they're staying straight. Come back to the center, take a nice, comfortable stance. Push your tailbone back and away. Breathing, release your back, your spine, your neck, your head, your shoulders, your arms, your elbows, your wrists, and use your body to suspend itself. Remember to breathe while you're upside down, and when you're ready, grip the ground, unroll your body all the way up, inflate. Reach, make it a stretch to the top, and then relax. We're going to do one more of those. Grip the ground, push your tailbone back and away. Extend your spine by allowing it to relax. See how much relaxation you can pack into your upper body. Breathing deep. This is an easy one. Let gravity do the work. When you're ready, grip the ground, unroll all the way up, and relax. Let's turn around the hips a little bit. Grip the ground to your feet, and remember the long breathing. We can still be doing Qigong while we're not practicing Tai Chi, while we're warming up. If you haven't changed directions, let's do leg stretching, shoulder width wide, shoulder width deep. Fold this inside hip, keep the knee, the ankle, and the hip in line, and stretch. Remember to breathe, pull your toe up, and either straighten your spine or look all the way up to the sky while you're folded. Breathing, push forward. Let's do the other side. Shoulder width wide, shoulder width deep. Fold the inside hip. If I line up my foot with this camera, if I go shoulder width wide, shoulder width deep, and I fold this inside hip, everything is lined up this way. And then stretch. Remember to breathe, expand your spine, pull your toe up, reach out and forward. Check to see that your stretch creates a half frown. Push forward, take a deep breath, and then half smile at least. Let's do Tai Chi. Before we start, anyone have questions, thoughts, comments? Okay, we are in the third section, and I think we just looked at Jin Chi Du Li, left and right, and the next custom, I call them custom movements because they don't appear before that time in the form. Doesn't occur for quite a while. We have a bunch of stuff that happens in the second section. So the next one is when we have Sherfei, we have needle at the bottom of the C. And in the second section, my right hand is trapped. We're freeing the right hand and getting into Santombe this way. In the third section, my left hand is trapped, and we're freeing that, but the pattern is the same. So let's, as sort of a review of the ordering without focusing too much on the application, but looking instead at how does the ordering for this go. Let's start from four corners in the third section. So if we're facing the center and we have hook and parallel whip, we're facing north, we're going to go to the first corner and press, turning 270, second corner, press, third corner, press, fourth corner, press. Facing east, left grasp the sparrow's tail, right press downwards, square step forward, and now we're into the basic 8 postures. G, on, so, u, yo, pan, shuang, on, hung, lieso. We're facing north again. Hook. This is corner whip, so I'm turning my square to the west. Snake, creeping down. Come back through the center, breathing deep. Jinji Duli on the right. I'm going to take a wide step to move away from the camera. Jinji Duli on the left. Breathing deep. This is Repulse the Monkey, identical to the second section. Repulse the Monkey. Number 2. Repulse the Monkey. Number 3. Opening to the side. This is Sherfei. And here the left hand is doing needle at the bottom of the C. Santombe, turning, block, punch, kick, square step, lan, shui, di bu hua, fold knees, sheng bu li, roll back, press, push, look left, glance right, double press, horizontal, split, hook, side whip. We're facing north. This is cloud hands in the third section. Press right and left. Right and left, press right and left, and next we have hook, corner whip, and this is the next custom movement, is snake flashing its tongue. So let's take a break there. Bring your feet together. Take a deep breath. So you see a big portion of the third section repeats a part of the second section. And in that, we find the snake creeps down variant, which leads to a variant in fan through back. And then later in the third section, we see a repeat of Di Bu Hua, fold knees, but it's not a full fold knees, so there's a modified Di Bu Hua coming up actually after this posture. So let's practice let's see, should we do first, second, and third, or just second and third? Let's practice the form, and we'll go up to the point where we have, and it's, by the way, I believe for also the same when we say the term snake creeping down, this is white snake creeps down. And the same, I believe, it's white snake flashing its tongue. The same way, crane, Bai Hu. The Bai Hu means white animal, in this case, particularly the crane. So let's do Tai Chi. We'll do all three sections, and we'll start from the beginning, and we'll continue up to snake flashing its tongue. So pick a space in the center. Actually, we're starting in the first section, so we're going to start off to the right if we're facing north. Make sure you're on camera. Grip your feet, pull your head top up, relax your shoulders, relax your hips. Breathing deep, starting Tai Chi harmony. Open shoulder width wide for commencement. Breathing. Earlier we talked about isolating your elbows for grasp the sparrow's tail. Breathing. Right, grasp the sparrow's tail. Left, ward off. Left, grasp the sparrow's tail. Right, ward off. Roll back. Press. Push. Look left. Glance right. Double press. Horizontal split. I'm facing west. Hook. Single whip. Turning back to the north. Ti So San Shi. Lift hands. Split. Square step. Roll up. Turning 90 degrees. This is crane opening the wings. Bai Hu Yang Su. So Wei Pi Pa. Lo Shi Han Chong. Tui Bu, square step back. Bai Hu Yang Su. So Wei Pi Pa. Lo Shi Han Chong. Lo Shi Ao Bu. Press, brush knee, twist step, palm press, holding the moon in the chest. Ganlan Shui, breathing deep. Corner, facing west, punch. Facing the corner, facing west, punch. Number 3, Ban, Lan, Shui, Rufu, Si, double tap, turning to the north. This is embrace tiger, return to mountain. Bring the feet together. Form a T. Palm press directly to the center to the south. Breathe deep to roll back. Squeeze. Push. Left. Glance right. Double press. Horizontal split. We're facing east. Hook. Turn back to look at the moon. Breathe deep. Take as many steps as you like. Right hand covers. Spear fist to the center. Breathing. This is repulse the monkey. Number 1. Dao Mian Hu. Number 2. Dao Mian Hu. Number 3. Sher Fei is diagonal flying. The right hand continues coiling up and over for Hai Di Zhang. San Tong Bei. Turn and chop and block with fist. Square step. Lan. Shui. Keep your head top up. This is Di Bu Hua. Sheng Bu Li means change step, roll back, and we return back to the 8 basic processes. Push. Turn left. Turn right. Push. Horizontal. Split. Hook. Side whip. We're facing north. This is cloud hands in the second section. 1 and 2. Yin Xiao. E. R. Cloud hands. 1. Yin Xiao. Hook. Corner whip. Gao Tan Ma. Reach over the tall horse. Number 1. We're turning south. Gao Tan Ma. Number 2. We're turning east. Scoop. Brush. Press to the center. Lo Shi. Ao Bu. Press. Lo Shi. Jin Bu. Zai Shui. Rock step. Turn. Block and chop with fist. Square step. Lan. Shui. This is called Zhou Hua. Left deflect. Peel off. Right heel kick. Heel Feng Jiao. Stamp back to embrace a tiger. Big rollback. Official title, stamp back to embrace the tiger. Left foot stamp the steps behind the right. Monk searching for the moon in the sea. Brush. 2 winds traveling to the ears. Right foot steps behind the left. Left side pulls and kicks. Turning. 1, 2, 3. Right side pulls and kicks. Fen Shen Pi Shen Shui. Block, punch, kick. Lan. Shui. Ru Feng. Si Bi. We're going to turn 90 degrees to the north. I'm going to move to the center. Return tiger to mountain. We're continuing to the 3rd section. Breathe deep. For those of you sensitive to chi, the third section is when the chi starts kicking in. You feel warmer. You want to move faster. Turn to the south. Join the palms. Squeeze. Push. When you feel that warm temperature, that means you can breathe more oxygen without cooling off. That means that energy allows you to get even more energy. Turning 90, facing east. Diaosho is hook. When you feel warm, breathe to balance. Cover the shoulder through the center. Yama Fazang. Cover the shoulder, come up through the center. Wild horse shaking its mane. Number 2, cover the shoulder, come up through the center. Wild horse shaking its mane. Number 3, breathing deep to roll back. Turning, press, push, left, glance right, double press, horizontal, split, hook, side whip, and this is the start of 4 corners. So we go to the first corner and press. Looking, turn 270 to the second corner, press. Looking, turn 90, third corner, fourth corner faces southeast. Left grasp, sparrow's tail, right press, facing east, Ji, An, Sogu, Yo Pan, Shuan, An. Horizontal, split, I'm going to center again. Hook, this is corner whip. This is the first snake creeping down. Come back to the center. Standing on the left foot, we have right. Jinji Duli, change. Standing on the right foot, we have left. Jinji Duli, down in. We're close to the monkey. 1. Same as the second section. 2. Breathing deep. 3. Sherfei is diagonal flying. And Heidi Zhang. Fan through back. Turn, block, kick, and chop with fist, square step. This is all identical to the second section. Lan, Shui, Yi, Bu, Fa. Change step, roll back, or back to the basics. Because you know this, you can go back to adjust your breathing. Left, glance right, breathing deep, press. Horizontal, split, hook, side whip. This is cloud hands in the third section. Press right and left. Yin Sao. E, R. 3 of 3 cloud hands, right and left. After this next posture, we'll take a break. We have hook, corner whip. Continue the arms turning, shift back. The right hand covers, the left hand comes up through the center, spear fist. Bring your feet together. Bring your hands together. Take a deep breath. Before we continue, for those of you that are experienced, you have some internal practice, you may notice when you practice the Tai Chi form, various things happen at various times as far as your energy level. When that happens, if you have experience, I will assume that you know what to do with it. If you're not, if you don't, and you're practicing, you may notice sometime around the beginning of the third section, your body temperature increases. You feel like you like to do the form faster or with power. This is Qi. You're cultivating Qi. When that happens, simply regulate the breathing. Increase the breathing. When it's very warm outside in the summertime and it's so hot you can't take it, that means there's a lot of energy. It means there's a lot of heat. And so when there's a lot of energy, we can absorb a lot of energy. That means we can do a lot of deep breathing. And that may actually even cool us off. But in the winter time when it's cold, right, there's no heat. There's not as much energy to go around. We don't like to do that kind of deep breathing. We're just taking cold air into our nose, and maybe this is making us shiver even more cold. So we have to understand the Qi and how to regulate that and balance it in our body. As we improve and advance, we'll talk more about that. Before we continue, does anyone have questions, thoughts, comments? Yes, go ahead.
Whether we review it this week or next, or in the next few classes, the left side needle at the bottom of the seat, I'd like to see your analysis of that.
Okay, let's actually do that now. I was going to start into the next custom movement, snake flashing its tongue, but let's look at the analysis of, and when I'm doing this, I'm going to, normally I'm facing this direction and I'm traversing this way for this example. So in the second section, when I do my Sherfei, we have this type of shoulder bump, we expand, and then this hand comes over. I'm just going to talk about the third part of that, because Sherfei has sort of three parts. The first one is, like we said, shoulder bump. And this is very straightforward. You like to bump into something. There's a wall here, right? Can't see the padding there. Shoulder bump, right? I'm using my whole body as a check, right, to bump the other person or bump the door, whatever it is I like to bump into. So after my shoulder check. And then this next one is sort of a ward off. Imagine that there's somebody standing next to you, and after you bump into them, you're going to expand your frame to knock them over or force them to move out of the way. And somebody grabs onto your wrist, right? We have something in the first section. If you're standing there, somebody grabs your wrist. We have this movement for Ban, right? This turning that goes this way, Ban Lan Shui. Diagonal flying, instead of just making this little loop here, isolating the elbow for like Ban from the first section, we're going to use, coming from the center, this is the pivot point. So I want to turn. How many remember doing the teacup Qigongs, right, like this? This first part, turning just like that, because the person's trying to hold on. And like when we found in Ban, if we keep this spiraling and we turn the forearm inside their grip. So here, this is turning, and it's going to come over, and it's facing, my palm is facing out, my elbow should probably not be that high, that's incorrect, right? But as it comes over and turns here, the palm is spinning the whole time, right? So, and the reason for that is we want to make it difficult for any of you that have had siblings when you're growing up, or friends in the schoolyard, and they grab you and you don't want to be grabbed, right? This is the same, this movement coming up and over and turning. So, this coming up and over, turning here, makes a 180 rotation after it's come back, right? Let me face the other direction, see if you can see. Here, this hand turns, and then, like a bird, it's going to start to dive. But as it dives, it's going to turn, twist. You can also think about the term as needle at the bottom of the sea. So imagine, we don't necessarily have to drop a small needle. Imagine a very large needle. When you drop that into the ocean, it's going to go vertically, but it may also spin on its axis. So this needle at the bottom of the sea is spinning. For the second, and the footwork, by the way, when I do this, this can be very simple. I have one foot flat and the other foot indicating that the heel is off the ground, right? The sort of Tai Chi yin-yang. And this movement doesn't have to reach the bottom of the sea. Our goal, if the other person is holding on and we have this, our goal is to drop our dantian so that this sinks, right? And the whole thing comes with it. So the person holding on loses their structure. They lose their composition. This is the purpose for this. So a good Heidi Zhang, a good application could just be this small. We don't have to practice doing something going all the way down to the ground. You'll see professional Tai Chi performers doing that. For your day-to-day, you don't have to do it. So the second part is this twist is this other hand is going to do the garden shear, right? The shearing action across the thing. If I come up, over, after this is down, while this shoulder is sunk, as I'm coming up, I'm going to shear, and then from here, Senton-bei, press, right? And Senton-bei, imagine somebody here with their arm, and then you have somebody else here. The basic, the first half of it. If they continue to move, we can keep that power going through this cross beam in the shoulders and turn for the other direction, right? Something like this. So, the second section, needle at the bottom of the sea. Second section. In the third section, you can be practicing this, by the way, while we're doing this. I like you to be practicing Tai Chi as much as you can. In the second section, we assume someone has grabbed the left hand, so it's going to do the same thing. It's going to come up and over, right? If I'm doing my type of diagonal ward off here, somebody now has attached to this left hand. I'm going to bring it up, over, and twisting down the same way. But in this one, in the other one we're standing on the right foot, the left foot is up. In the third section on this one, I like to actually step my foot forward and sink down here. You can do the footwork the most basic way here. But this, with the left hand going to the inside, is very similar to a Bagua animal's posture, snake, right? Which allows you to get down into this type of thing. So my Tai Chi reflects that. You can make it simple. Let's look at where it's coming from. In the third section, if I face this way, again, somebody has grabbed my wrist. I'm turning it over. I'm stepping forward and turning the needle here. Step, step, and press. It's more clear. One is right hand, the other left hand. Yep. Okay. Cool. And we have about 10 minutes left. Let's start to look at snake flashing its tongue. So I'll face west. If we have hook and we have single whip, let's actually practice this the correct way in the form a couple of times first. If I'm facing north, I have hook, and I turn. This turning for the single whip is happening at my waist down here. So I turn to reach and press. And in this one, this particular whip hooks up very nicely to the next movement. So after you do that waist turn, when you shift back, your arms are still out here. Let's look at that. Hook. Step back, whip. When we shift back, the right hand covers, the left hand is coming underneath here. And then forward. Let's look. Hook. Corner whip. Avoid. Make contact. Advance. Let's do that 3 times. Slow. Breathe deep. Hook. Corner whip. Continue the spine turning. Cover. Spear fist. Hook. Corner whip. Continue turning. Cover. Spear fist. Hook. Corner whip. Shift back, cover, shift forward. So, this one does not need to have a step. The step is based on your opponent, or if you're doing the Tai Chi form, it's based on the sort of mood and attitude by which you're doing the form. So if we have hook, corner whip, I can just, for the Tai Chi form, just go to here. But I can also, if I'm practicing, if I like to take more steps, I can shift, cover, and then step forward. So very much like any type of other art form, if you like to make typography and you want to write characters or calligraphy, you can make it very simple, very straight lines. Same thing if you play the guitar, right? Or you play piano. You can make very simple notes and still convey an idea. Or you can make something that has a lot of detail and still conveys the same idea. Tai Chi is a martial art. So we can look at multiple ways to do it. How do you know if it's correct? Because it's functioning self-defense. If the opponent can overcome, if you have open space, it's less correct. I think that's about time. We have just a few minutes left. Let's do a few more. And what is happening if we have hook and we turn our square to the side? Here, we've just perhaps dispatched an opponent or an objective, and the power is coming towards us, right, from the front. So what do? The first thing is avoid. The next thing is to make contact. These sort of happening at the same time. So if I'm facing this direction, I step back and cover with this hand. This other hand's getting ready. How many here remember the teaching? The hands are partners. They're working together. They're yin and yang. So when one is working, the other is resting. And when the other is resting, the one is working. So when we do grasp the sparrow's tail, this hand is working. This other hand resting. Doesn't need to do very much because this one's doing the job. And they change and they communicate with each other. One hand working, grasp the sparrow's tail. The other one says, I'm here ready. When you change, as this one changes, the other one says, okay, now I'm taking over. And they change. One hand is working, warding off. The other is resting on the opponent's weight, right? So, and then we change again. One says, I'll do the job. The other says, I'm here to support. Yin-yang, change. I'm becoming active. I will go to rest. The same, always true. So if you see your hands like the yin-yang, Tai Chi, the black and white paisleys that turn in the circle, the same, if I have hook, cover, center, right? Hook and whip here. As I shift back, this one hand covers, the other one says, I'm getting ready. So this one is actually the yang one. It's waiting on the opponent. This one is yin, it's waiting. And then they change. This one is now yang, it's active, it's moving. And this one is yin, it's resting on the opponent's structure. Let's do some, unless there's questions. let's do some Qigong to close. We have just a few minutes left. Return to Tai Chi harmony. Bring everything back to the center. And then take a comfortable stance, breathing. For me, my work week is not over until just after we finish this class. So this is my type of finish line. For you, you may have a full weekend ahead of you. Whatever the case, whether you've had a long week or expecting a long weekend, all of the above or none of the above, this is a good time to relax and fill up with all the energy you could need. Go at your own pace. You can make it a stretch as relaxed or as intense as you like. Keep the tongue connected up there. Activate your feet. You'll find the more you activate your feet, the less you have to think about your legs. Imagine you got all that free energy and then you have like a sour expression on your face. How would your appearance be if you got all the free chi, at least a half smile? Do 2 more wherever you're at. Make it the longest, most relaxed, most energizing breath of the week so far. Bring your feet together in the center. Return to Tai Chi harmony. And we do this meditation because we're moving around a lot. And in some of the Chinese classics it says if you practice moving for 1 hour, you should practice sitting for 1 hour. We may not have that kind of luxury, so we should make it for ourselves. In the meantime, after the movement, allow everything to return back to its settled state. So the chi, everything returning back to the center. Grip your feet. Internally, take a second to smile at yourself, at your center. Internally, say thank you to yourself, for yourself. Breathing deep, move your mind, the mind's eye, up into the center of the heart chakra. Take a deep breath and relax your heart. Smile internally to your heart and have a gratitude practice for yourself. If you're watching this video, it means your heart is working. Breathing deep, move your mind up one more time up into the center of the brain. Smiling to your brain, allow your brain to relax and have a gratitude practice for your brain. If you understand this video, that means your brain is working. Move everything back to the Dantian, and then like a lock or a seal, you want to make sure nothing escapes. Take another long, deep breath. We'll meet the next time.
Thanks, Brian. I owe you an email. Catch up soon.
Oh yeah, cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. See ya.
See you.